Hey all you Switch fans, welcome back to another episode of What's New in the eShop. In this series, I go over the new releases every week of what you're going to be able to find on the Nintendo Switch eShop. I highlight what I think are the best looking games with my opinions, and then there'll be a nice little sizzle reel at the end to show you the rest of the titles. Alright, so let's jump right in and see what's coming out in the eShop for the second full week of April 2022. Alright, on April 12th, we actually have a full retail release. We have 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. 13 Sentinels was brought to us by Vanillaware. If you're not familiar with Vanillaware, you may be very familiar with some of their past games. They are absolute masters at the craft of building amazing looking 2D games. They are the ones who brought us Odin Sphere, Muramasa, and Dragon's Crown. 13 Sentinels is a little different than some of their previous releases. It's more of an advanced sort of visual novel style game. You are playing as a group of young men and women who are operators of giant mechs who are taking on kaiju that are threatening the world. This game already has reviews out, is currently sitting at a 90 on Metacritic, making it one of the absolute best reviewed Switch games of all time. For me personally, I'm still going to wait on this. I am not really a fan of visual novels, even though this may be one of the best ones ever made. I'm going to be waiting for a fairly deep sale, hopefully in the future. But I know there is a crowd out there that is practically frothing at the mouth waiting for this game. So I am very excited for you if you are someone who has been looking forward to this. And that does release on April 12th for a full $60. On April 13th, from the developer Alad's Team Arcade, hopefully I'm saying that right, we get Blast Brigade versus the Evil Legion of Dr. Creed. This is a very slick-looking run-and-gun style platformer game, which was enough already to make me pretty excited, but they made a big deal about how this is a full-on Metroidvania-style experience, which, if you give me a decent Metroidvania, I am in absolute heaven. I do think the game has a bit of what I would call sort of a mobile-looking style of artwork. Personally, for me, I don't have a problem with that. I actually kind of like that visual aesthetic. But this is actually not a mobile game. So far, the only other platform this game has been released is on PC, and the Steam reviews overall are very good. But the game does give you multiple characters to play through. You can switch between them on the fly, all kinds of different abilities. And you're taking on big hybrid monsters and robots and cyborg ninjas and other minions. So, sounds like a good action-filled Metroidvania fun time. And like I said, that does release April 13th on the eShop for $19.99. Moving on to April 13th, we have Pad of Time coming to us from Mark Anime Studios. This is a 2.5D platformer, but the big gimmick with it is that you have a special pad, and that can show you each level from the past, the present day, and the future. So I think that sort of is supposed to help you solve a lot of the puzzles and find new ways to play each level. However, the real reason I wanted to include this game is that it is also releasing on the Wii U, which obviously at this point in time is quite strange. They are claiming that this is the final Wii U release. Not sure if that's completely accurate, but according to the developer, it is. So if you want one last hurrah with your Wii U, well, this one will take care of you. It does release, though, on the Switch on the 13th for a low price of $7.99. Alright, on April 14th, Gotta Protector's Cart of Darkness will be coming out. This is a real cult classic, especially among fans of the previous games for the 3DS. Basically, the way this game works is you play as some sort of a warrior or mage or whatever, some sort of fantasy class, and you are pushing along a castle along this track and pushing it towards the enemy castle. And by pushing it into the castle, it ultimately will damage it and eventually destroy that enemy's castle. And along the way, you have all kinds of baddies who are flooding towards you, trying to take you on, and you can set up, I think, from what I can see, you can set up blockades and traps. It also has co-op, so you can take on these challenges with 3 other people. This game, though, does have a big cult following, so I'm sure there is a group of people who are very excited to jump into this one. It releases April 14th for $14.99. You can also buy the deluxe bundle for $24.99, which will include a myriad of DLC. I won't hide my opinion. I think DLC on day one is really skeevy, but if you know you're going to enjoy it and you want it, well, it's right there for you, so you can buy that deluxe edition. All right, moving on April 14th, from Drinkbox Studios, the makers of the amazing Guacamelee games, bring us Nobody Saves the World. Nobody Saves the World is an action RPG where you play as a nobody, but he can turn into many somebodies. He can take on many various forms, including a slug, a ghost, a dragon, a rat, a rogue, a robot, all kinds of different forms. And apparently you can also mix and match abilities, so there's all kinds of creative ways that you can outfit your character. The dungeons are procedurally generated, so you get a little bit of a different experience every time, and they do increase in difficulty and complexity to scale along with your current character's level. The game does also include co-op, so you can bring along a friend for all this action RPG fun. For me personally, this is my #1 pick for this week. I'm a huge fan of the developer. The Guacamelee games are amazing Metroidvanias, so I'm really excited to see what they're able to do for the action RPG genre. But you don't actually have to wait to know whether or not this is good. It did release already on Xbox and PC, and it has gotten rave reviews, so I already know it's solid. So you can, I think, definitely jump into this one blind, knowing that it is going to be a really good time. And like I said, it does release April 14th for the price of $24.99. Also on April 14th, Run, The World in Between will be releasing, and it comes to us from developer Team Run, which seems very fitting. I'm personally getting a lot of Celeste vibes from this game. To me, it kind of looks like that style of gameplay, but you are being chased down by some sort of nefarious spirit the whole time. Personally, for me, this is a huge pass. I think the gameplay looks amazing, but any sort of game that has something chasing me the whole time is going to make my anxiety go into overdrive. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's just a small part of the gameplay, but from all the video I've seen, it seems like that's pretty integral. But if you are the kind of person who can handle that kind of stress, I think you have a very solid Celeste-style platforming game. And like I said, that does release April 14th for $9.99. Also on April 14th, we have a very whimsical-looking game, Sockventure, coming out. Sockventure comes from us from publisher Versus Evil. You will be playing as a superhero helping a child to find all his missing socks from inside of a cursed washing machine. Yep, that's really the plot. The game does have some really vivid, just very colorful, beautiful graphics. It claims to have some really tight controls and some ever-changing styles of gameplay. This one also kind of gives me some of that Celeste-style platformer vibes. I don't like to compare all these type of games to Celeste, but that is sort of what I think the watermark that people are shooting for a lot of times. But this one does look a lot more silly, just a lot more goofy and fun. But I'm pretty darn excited about this one. I think if Nobody Saves the World wasn't coming out this week, there would be a stronger chance I'd be picking this one up. But I am going to wishlist it and keep it in mind for later. But like I said, it is releasing April 14th for $19.99. Also on April 14th, we have a very unique looking little co-op game called Toodee and Topdee. So this is basically a co-op game where you are playing platformer style levels. One of the characters will only view the levels as a 2D platformer, and the other character will view the level as a top-down experience. From what I've seen, there'll be a lot of switching on the fly between the characters to change the levels and help each other out so that you can retrieve keys and get to the end together. The game does include some precision platforming sections, so just know that it's not just simply a puzzle game. There are going to be some difficult moments, but according to the developer, they have a lot of modifications in the difficulty settings to make it a little easier if you need it to be. So you can either do this one alone, or like I said, it does have co-op, so you can bring on a friend, make your way through these levels, and defeat huge bosses. This one definitely has the makings of a game that could be on a future hidden gems kind of list. And like I said, it does release April 14th for $19.99. Gotta say, there are a lot of $20 games coming out on the eShop this week, so my prayers go out to all of your wallets. But I'm not done yet, still got 2 more games to talk about. Also on April 15th, we have Defend the Rook. Defend the Rook looks like it's a very unique blend of chess, turn-based strategy, tower defense, really just a cool looking unique blend of all those genres. I really feel like the screenshots don't do this game justice. I actually think after you're done with this video, maybe if this is a game that really stands out to you as something you'd be interested in, go ahead and see if you can find some footage of the PC version. I was particularly not that excited about this game just looking at the description and whatnot, but once I saw it in motion, I kind of understood how it works. So you will have characters on a grid, and you're moving those characters around, but you're also building towers for defense, and the tower that the enemies are trying to attack can also be moved. So there's a lot of shifting and moving and planning with the towers. But I'm really a big fan of tower defense games. I'm a big fan of turn-based strategy games. And I'm also a big fan of roguelikes, which apparently this is a roguelike. So for me personally, this game is shooting right up to the top of my wish list. I don't think I'm going to pick it up this week. Like I said, it does release April 15th. Right now, the eShop does not have a price on it, so if there is a price by the time I edit this, I'll make sure that price is put up there. I can tell you that the PC version is $17.99, so it's probably going to be close to that, maybe $20 or less. And finally, on April 15th, we have another wacky, crazy co-op couch game. Lumberhill comes to us from ARP Games. I really like the developer's name. This game can be played with 1 to 4 people, and it is all about lumberjacks taking down lumber and finding crazy ways of delivering it and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Look, let's be honest, you know the gist of these overcooked style games. You know that it's going to take some sort of normal daily activity and put these characters in crazy situations where they have to deal with it. The fact of the matter is that there is a pretty big glut of these style of games, so this one's going to have to be pretty darn good to rise above. So I'd say definitely wait for some reviews. Maybe you'll find out that it's amazing and just the greatest thing ever for parties. Lumberhill does release on April 15th, though, for $14.99. It does currently have a pre-sale price of $9.89. So if you're willing to take the chance, maybe now's the time. All right, those are my number 1 picks, but make sure you hold still so you can check out this sizzle reel of the rest of the games releasing this week. right, Tricksters, I hope you saw something that you liked. I know for me, I'm really excited about Nobody Saves the World, Sockventure, Defend the Rook, and that Blast Brigade Metroidvania game. I think all four of those look like really solid choices, so those are the ones I'm really taking note of. Let me know which of the games that you're thinking about picking up or wishlisting. So until next time, all you Nintendo Switch fans, thank you for all the support. I hope you have great gaming and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.